Why do autistics struggle with clean clothes and haircuts? I have autism, and my life has been shaped around discovering what hurts the symptoms of autism, what helps the symptoms of autism, and finding the science which can explain this.
In this video, I explain why autistics do one of 16 different types of behaviors. Then I'll let you know how to get more information if you want it. This is one of a series of 16 videos, which I hope will make it easier for you to explain autism behaviors to extended family, colleagues, educators, friends, or anyone who might be working with or supporting someone with an autistic spectrum condition. I'm Jackie McMillan of Thrive with Autism. I help parents, educators, health practitioners, and adult autistics to reduce or eliminate the symptoms of autism so that autism no longer defines their lives or limits their opportunities. So why do autistics wear the same clothes all the time or not want to get a haircut? So let's start with clothes. Clothes, there can be a couple things going on. First thing is that the sensation of clothes on your body can be distracting. Now most people, it will only be distracting if they're wearing something like a new pair of shoes that's rubbing a blister on their foot. And it's really, uncomfortable to the point where it's hard to pay attention to anything else, like a conversation of someone you're walking with. But when you're autistic and you're taking in that much more sensory information, every time you change what you're wearing, it fits differently on your body. So we tend to have what I call our uniforms, which means that we have clothes that are very, very similar that we wear all through the year. So for me, I can stand the seasonal change, so I do switch from turtlenecks to t-shirts come warmer weather. So all through this hot weather, I'm usually wearing a t-shirt and pants, and all through the winter weather, I'm usually wearing a turtleneck and pants. And what this does is it means that I can focus on what's going on around me better because I'm not distracted by things holding me in different ways or having different textures. So to give you an idea of the complication, when there are celebratory events, like a wedding that happened last summer, I will wear different shoes and I will wear a dress, and these fit differently and they bind differently and they're distracting. So during an occasion where I'd really like to be as able as I can to pay attention to people's faces and their words and their emotions and everything, my clothes can be extremely distracting from this, and I can keep having to shut off sensory information flows in order to cope with being in that different outfit. So that's the first thing with clothes. The second thing with clothes has to do with laundry products. Most of the commonly available brand name laundry products have toxic components in them. And some of these are scented products. Scents are in the same chemical class as neurotransmitters, and a lot of them are also hormone mimickers. So when we're breathing things in, we can be breathing in toxins, which is the fastest way to absorb things into the bloodstream, or we can also be driving our neurons and our hormones from outside by what we're breathing in, outside the body. Now, most people don't really have this problem because their liver and kidneys are working well enough that as they breathe these things in, they're cleaning it out of the bloodstream and packing it away in fat cells so that you don't really notice that there's a problem with these scents. But when you're autistic and you have impaired detoxification, you're breathing these in and they're going into your cells, they're crossing the blood-brain barrier, they're driving your neural reactions and your hormonal reactions from the outside. Now, for example, most dryer sheets or anti-static are profoundly neurotoxic. And, other people may be really happy when they have laundry that smells like that. For me, fresh laundry that's just come out of the dryer with the dryer sheet smells like a really bad headache. Alright, so that's clothes. Next is haircuts. Very closely related. Think of the sensory stimulation of a barber shop or a hairdresser shop. I mean, You've got flickering fluorescent lights overhead, and you've got all these hard surfaces that noises are bouncing off of, and you've got all of these mirrors, so anybody who moves, there's movement all over the room as it bounces through the mirrors, and they smell. As soon as you open that door, you get this whoosh of really toxic product. And actually, it's a problem for hairdressers and barbers too. They tend to get cancers and other autoimmune disorders much worse and at much younger ages than most other people in our population do, because of their daily exposure to these toxic products. But having autism, when you're walking in and you get that initial blast, it hurts. It really hurts, and it makes you feel sick, and you don't want to be there. So if you want to cut an autistic's hair, try it in a yard somewhere or in a city park.
If you want more information, some free webinars are coming up. Even if you can't attend, registering gives you a copy of the video recording. Autism Essentials gives you the 3 keys to help autistics thrive at home, school, and work. And the 5 root causes of autism lets you find the unique blend at the root of your particular autistic challenges and how that affects recovery. Thank you for caring about someone with autism.